Alright, good morning everybody, it's Michael here. Hope you're all well. It's been a while. I thought I'd say hello today. It's the 1st of September 2020. First off, let me start by saying a big thank you to all of you who've been in touch with me over the last few months that I've been away. I decided to take a bit of a hiatus away from trading, given everything that was happening with the pandemic and the fact that I was playing my little part in helping the effort with the NHS for the pandemic. So it just didn't feel right to be making videos at that time. But as things have begun to settle, we're not out of the woods yet. I thought we'd resume making videos again. It's been a tough year for everybody. We've lost a lot of people. I've lost people I know. I know people who've lost people. It's really tough for everyone. People are also struggling with their jobs and things. But for those of us who are still here, let's continue to have hope. We can beat this, and hopefully we'll come out on the other end stronger. A lot of people are evaluating their values now, given everything that's happened so far. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to who you know you love and who you know loves you. So let's always keep that in perspective. So as we're going into the markets now, I'm going to start off looking at monthly charts, given that we've just finished 1 month and we're starting a new one. It's always a good idea to do that. I tend to do that the last weekend of every month or the week before the last, just to get a sense of where we've been, what's gone on for the whole month, with much more information available. So we'll go through as many charts as we can. We'll go through some of the other pairs that we don't tend to go through as much as we can. Also, a big thank you to all of you who have been in touch again. It's been really heartwarming to hear from you and to know that the videos were making a difference to a lot of you, and a lot of you looked forward to it. So apologies for not posting them as often as I could, but it just didn't feel right. It couldn't be helped. There was no way I was going to be able to do that. But I'm back now, and hopefully we can keep this going from here on end. All right, let's get started. So we're looking at the US dollar as usual, and this is a monthly chart, of course. So I just highlighted the levels that we've been looking at for a few years now in the round table, me and the guys. So we are seeing that prices are now on their way towards the bottom of the range that is forming now. We've had a high that was higher than this high that was formed in March of 2017, came all the way down in January 18, back up again in March, and the effect of the coronavirus and all of the things that happened with the monetary policies around the world, the dollar is now where it is. So we still have a little bit of room to go, but the month of September has started off with some continued selling, although it does show some signs of slowing down. We wouldn't be wanting to go looking for shorts, obviously, down into this area. Okay, and just going straight to look at its opposite, the Euro US dollar. So similar pattern all the way down into demand levels that we've had on the charts for a few years now on the monthly charts, and well on its way to this supply zone. In terms of the trend, we're still looking at a very flat market. You can see the arrow that I've put on the screen there. It's quite a flat market with supply above and demand tested below. So it remains to be seen how much of these supply levels will hold, as the trend on all the other time frames are quite strongly to the upside. We now just have to watch and see what prices do at these supply levels. But there's still a little bit of room to go, although we're getting high there on the curve. Okay, let's take a look at the Aussie CAD. We'll look at some of the Aussie pairs, some of the other Euro pairs, and we'll do it like that as much as we can. Okay, Again, we are at a previously tested supply zone. We want to keep an eye on what prices are doing. You can see that in the month of August, they tried to sell the Aussie against the Canadian. The market did, and it came back up and closed quite strongly for the month of August. So it remains to be seen if this push, it's been a long haul all the way from March, continuing all the way up, no single month with the sellers in control. The buyers have just continued to buy this up. It remains to be seen if they're going to take a bit of a rest now, or are they going to continue pushing higher. In terms of fresh supply above, that's what we've got, and it's just above. You can see the line that I've put there, all these resistance areas above that prices have struggled to close above. So watch this. It's not in the ideal location to be looking for long-term buys right now. We prefer a pullback to demand and try to engage it that way. This is obviously, all these monthly charts are obviously for position trades, for longer term trades. They also give us a perspective, as I said earlier, of where we've been and where we're at in the big picture. And the Aussie Swiss, similar picture, coming down. Trend is still down. We had the washout with the biggest candle on the chart being at the end of the move, which is always, well, I say always, there's nothing always in trading. It's usually, I should say, a trap. So we've seen that anyone who is selling in the month of March and is now a bit in trouble. We have sellers up here. We've tried to sell it off for 3 months now. Nothing major in terms of the selling. We've had that wick showing the selling. We tried to continue it in July, but August came and we almost took out all of the selling that happened in July. So watching that area, let's see what happens now. We still have a little bit of room to go, but it's already too high for us to be doing any long-term buying. If we're going to buy, then we'll need to see that this area is removed. There is still, I didn't mark it, but there is still a little bit of an area left above here as well. So still got some work to do, the Aussie against the Swiss. So let's look at the Aussie against the US dollar. So again, similar picture like its cousins in the Aussie group, testing previously tested non-fresh supply, strong move of several months. We are not in a place to be looking for long-term longs. We'd rather want to see what happens at this level. If we start getting any evidence of selling, will the market give us an opportunity to join that selling and try to bring it back down to the demand level, or will it just continue to power through? Don't necessarily ignore this area as well that is above, although it's not marked. It is the whole area where the move down started, so please keep an eye on that. All right, let's take a look at some of the CAD pairs. CAD yen, not much going on, a very flat market, big base for several years going back to 09. We haven't had too much of a trend like we had here from 08 to 09. We've just been basing, but because it's a monthly chart, it's given big enough ranges for trades to happen. Right now we're in the middle of a move. We've seen the supply above here and the demand that keeps on holding below at this level just continues to hold. So right now the momentum is down, we're moving up, we are beginning to create, it's not fully formed yet. This area here could be potential demand, but given where we are in the whole range, it might not be a good idea to be initiating anything right now in the long term in the CAD yen. The momentum is to the downside, but prices have moved strongly, the strongest move we've had pretty much since this move back in 2018. So the fact that the momentum is down still makes us wonder whether people are going to try to sell it right about where it is. It's in the middle of the move, so it's not in the ideal location for us to act on this, but we're watching it. And the Swiss yen. The Swiss yen is also trying to come out of a base. It's had the rally, it's pulled back, it's come into demand, and it's now just chopped around for several years. We are at the top of the range, that you can see the tests of that area, been multiple. We've had some demand created in here, and we're pushing higher. Again, not in the greatest place unless you're banking on a move to take out this area. Not in the greatest place to be initiating long positions for the long term. The fact that this area has been tested 3 times and it's been barely touched and sold off is of interest to us. Okay. Some of the euro pairs moving quickly on, so the video is not too long. Supply above, not quite tested, so we'd still consider that an area of interest. We have multiply tested demand below. Prices have had a big sell-off since the big move up back in March again. So continuing down, we still have room to go. The month of August was total selling, very little upside in August, but small candles. There'll be sellers looking to try to continue selling with any rallies up from this level, but it's not fully formed for us. That's why I didn't mark it. So we still technically have room to go. This area is not fresh. There is an area right below it that you might want to keep an eye on. It's almost part of the whole thing, but that area also would be of interest. Be interesting to see how it arrives at that area, because we're likely to have supply zones also form that will take on any demand that is in this level. But for now, we're watching it. We'll see how it goes. It's a downtrend on smaller time frames. The EURCAD, demand levels, supply levels, very flat market, as you can see the arrow there, very flat. We are again at the top of the range, so we saw in the month of August sellers coming in, given we were revisiting an area that's been tested several times but has continued to hold. With these kind of areas, probably best not to be doing any sort of set and forget trades up in there, but waiting to see what happens when price gets to those levels. And so we'll see now. If we're going to continue down, there's room to go to the demand. If we go back up, then we may be getting above these highs. If we're going to initiate any new shorts at this level, probably wanted to get it higher than here, if it goes higher, to initiate any new shorts higher than that price. All right, let's take a look at the Euro USD. Euro USD is also, well, we did already. I think we did that, right? So we'll look at the Euro New Zealand instead then. So the Euro New Zealand is coming off of demand. We have some sellers in here. You can see they tried to show their strength in August. We are in between these levels, but closer to the demand than to the supply. So the fact that this was just barely tested, being a monthly level, the fact that the momentum continues to be to the upside, looking for buys with any drops in price on smaller time frames may not be a bad idea. Watching for that for sure. If we continue up, then of course we can continue looking for buys with the trend. Yeah. Okay, pound. Let's do pound yen, the dragon as it's called. All right. So multiply tested demand below. We've had supply that pushed to new lows. So we could argue, given the rules that we have, that the momentum continues to be to the downside. And as we're moving up again into that area has been penetrated really deep. So not really looking at that area. It's an area where I don't want to necessarily be initiating long positions at, but I'm also not probably going to be initiating shorts at that level, just because of the fact that it's been tested quite deeply. Okay, pound USD, similar picture there. The supply zone for the pound USD is not till up there. It's a flat market as well. I don't have any other data on this. You guys probably have on your own brokers. Maybe you have some more data, but we're looking at a flat market trying to turn up now. We have levels of interest that the market has come to, but we haven't reached that supply with room to go. So it's getting high for sure, in that range. But if we're to continue up, it may just be possible to look and get long positions on smaller time frames. It's not ideal where it is though. I personally wouldn't do it, but I know some of you who like to trade that level to level approach within the methodology will do that, and I can see why. It's just not ideal for me. I like the charts that have, with clear profit margins that I could trade. All right, New Zealand, Japanese yen. A lot of congestion at this level. I've marked this supply zone, but it's not the greatest for me given what's behind it. The fact that it tested it though and came down to new levels is what caught my eye. Now we're going back up into that area again. Going to have to see. The attempts to sell it have not been successful in the last 3 months. So it is showing strength for sure. Any attempts to sell it have been held up. They tried to go down, and you can see how August closed almost to the highs. So it is showing internal strength, the New Zealand against the yen. So it's again not in an ideal place to be looking for long trades, but it's also looking challenging for anyone trying to short it, given the levels are not clean. The levels are not, they're not fresh. They wouldn't meet a lot of the criteria that we look for in great levels. But it's a monthly chart, so it is worth keeping those levels and just watching it on smaller time frames, of course, and seeing what happens at those levels. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna take a look at gold as well now. So let's take a look at gold and see what's happening. Okay, so gold is still moving on up. August was a testing month for gold. Closed almost at the open, or in fact lower than the open. So we want to see what happens next. This could be a rally-based rally, or it could be a rally-based drop. We have demand. We don't have any supply to the left, so we just continue trying to join this trend as we did down in here. And for those of you in the round table, we entered gold at this level on a smaller time frame. Some of you are still in that trade, which is paying out really, really well. So well done to you. You know who you are, you guys. So pulling back to demand would be the ideal scenario. If we continue to go up, then we can look for entries on smaller time frames to see if we can join that trend. But it's the first day of the new month, the last month in the third quarter, so we'll see what happens. All right, and then let's take a quick look at oil for you commodity traders. We can see what's happening with oil there. Oil has had, again, not much, no data on this broker for demand below, but we can see oil is clearly in a downtrend. It's been in the news, but it's paused. It paused back in April, and it's risen for 4 months in a row. The momentum is slowing for sure, and when you go on smaller time frames, it's really, really flattened out. So you can see from the size of the candles here how the momentum has slowed just before we're getting to this supply level, which could end up being a rally-based rally into the supply, in which case we'll be left with some demand in here for us to keep an eye on. Or we could just have a rally-based rally that will take out this supply and would then have to deal with the one I didn't add, which will be in here. There's a lot of trading at this level. That's the level that was tested, you can see above. So, but just keep an eye on all those levels up there. There will be demand that will form, of course, that any attempts to sell from these levels, if we are going to continue up, will be used as a place to buy. All right. So I think I will leave it there. It's great to be back. Thank you again to all of you who've been in touch with me. I do appreciate it. And if you're interested in learning the methodology, there's a lot of free material on the Trading Institutional Order Flow thread on forexfactory.com. If you're interested in more personalized learning, or you wanted to join the roundtable, just go onto the website, storehouseanalytics.com, and all the information for the mentoring service is on there, so take advantage of that. I look forward to making more videos for you guys going forward. All right, thank you all again. Trade well, trade safe. Bye for now.